Okay, people. So I am joined by, and I apologize right now because I feel I'm gonna butcher the hell out of your name, and not even a surname, the first name. You know what I mean? I'm just mess it up. But no, I'm joined by Jessica Umbago.
Uberuaga. I
You,
say
but
it's cold. Aga.
uh, okay, Uberaga.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, Jessica Uber. Yeah, I just
Uberuaga.
Uberuaga, who is one of the stars of Incantation.
Incarnation.
Incarnate. I can't speak today, Jessica. I
Okay.
apologize.
Maybe. Okay.
There's certain words that you just look at and you're like, how the hell do I say that?
I
Ah.
know. I know. Especially my last name. It's been happening my whole life.
I, I I can imagine. I can imagine.
That one.
Oh man. But so yeah, you have this new film dropping,
Mhm.
right? Tomorrow. And you're
Yep.
starring with Tay Diggs,
I am.
which is like you know what I mean? Michael Madsen is up in the joint too.
Can't forget him.
You know what I mean? It's a
On
tight
right.
cast. Like, how
Yeah.
did all of this come about?
Oh man, it was really quite like serendipitous. So I was filming another movie and Isaac Walsh, our director, was casting his film and he aligned with the producer of the movie I was shooting, who happens to be the same producer, and the producer mentioned me and said, "You should come meet Jessica." And it just so happens that the character's name is Jess. It's a coincidence. So he came to set and we sat down and talked, and about an hour in, he looks at me and he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I am convinced you are my Jess. Here, take the script, read it, let me know what you think." And I went back to, we were shooting in Palm Springs, to the hotel, and I sat by the pool at night by myself because it was like mid COVID and like deep COVID, and no one was around. And I started reading the script, and it got so scary. I actually had to like go inside because I was like hearing noises. And so that was it. I've always wanted to do a horror film. And so I was like, sign me up. Where do I sign? So I was Jess. And then later we boarded Tay Diggs, and then later on Michael Madsen. And it was just amazing. They were amazing to work with. Tay is man, he is an incredible actor, and he is so nice and so supportive and super easygoing. So
Awesome.
that's
But
how.
that must have been some conversation. If you know what I mean, like you got cast out of that. Like, what were you talking about? Like, how did all of that go?
Life. We were talking about life. We were talking about the story, who she was, the character Jess, and how I can relate to her. And I just think he just saw that it aligned, and he had seen me in action as well. So already got to see how I was on set, and
Mm.
that I'm very prompt and easygoing as well. And I just think like we just hit it off. You just know when you hit it off with someone, whether it's on a professional level, a friendship level, romantic level, whatever it is. We just, like, professionally speaking, in that moment, we just hit it off so well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's something. Sometimes, fate's just fate. Things are meant to happen.
Yeah, no, for real. So what jumped out when you read that script? When you were sitting there, you know what I mean? By the
Yeah,
pool, like
yeah.
what was the thing that jumped out to you that was like, oh, I need to be in this one?
Well, for me, when you watch a horror film, the most scary aspects of it are the unknown.
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
So definitely had a lot of that. And this also it's almost like a horror thriller. So it has another layer to it. And there's a big storyline with the things that like couples go through, and what we all go through with trying to make our dreams happen and our goals. So it, beyond just being scary, it has so many other layers that I could relate to. So that, for me, it just got me. The scares got me, the characters got me. So I loved it.
And was there any kind of inclination at that point who some of the other cast members could be? Were their names bandied around, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I'd
Yeah,
like to star with that kind of dude." Like, what was the kind of talk on
well,
that?
Mickey Rourke at the time was cast as
Ah,
Peter, who's now played by Michael Madsen. So Mickey was attached at the time, and Tay, though, wasn't cast yet. So, obviously they were on the hunt for Brad and trying to figure out who he would be. So I
mm,
was very excited to see, who that was going to end up becoming. But yeah, and I had already worked with Mickey briefly on Take Back, the film that I was filming prior.
yeah.
Actually, we had a couple scenes together, and he was nice. He's very intimidating, but he was a nice guy, and I know even he's Mickey Rourke. So for me, though, what got me most of all, though, was that I'd always wanted to lead a horror film. I think it's such a great platform for a female actress, just to kind of get her out into the world. When you look back at like Jamie Lee Curtis and
Mm.
all that. So, and I love horror films, like Quiet Place for me with Emily Blunt. Oh my god,
Oh,
it's such
it's so
a
damn good. I just Quiet Place was so good, and it was just it's that you know what I mean. It's obvious. It sounds obvious with the title, but it's just the economy of noise
yeah.
that just really amped it up. And I don't know, like Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, they're
See,
both great actors. You
I
know
know.
what I mean? But it's like, was it because they're husband and wife that really brought that chemistry to life? Because you really believe those moments and
Oh yeah,
everything
I'm
that
sure that
happened.
played into it because they have such a foundation there. But
Mm.
man, I mean, some of her scenes were just like unreal. I mean,
The walking down the stairs and she steps on a nail, and
I
you're just like, oh, yo, don't make a noise, man. Keep
and then
quiet.
the second one, they have a baby, and you're just like, did she give birth in the first or the second one? Now I don't remember which one. But anyways, oh my god, and you're worried the baby's gonna cry. You're just like, ugh, terrifying. But yeah, I mean that the way they used sound. I mean, sound is so important in a horror film. It is.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, like it can really make or break you, in my opinion, because you
Oh
are
yeah.
trying to accomplish, that it's that feeling, you know what I mean, and also the jump scares and stuff like that, where the audience doesn't expect it. you know. So people like that. That's what's fun about a horror film, is to experience
Mm.
that.
And when you were thinking about, oh, I'd love to be in a horror, was there a particular type of horror that kind of speaks to you more? You know what I mean? Because you've got the stuff like Hostel, right?
Yeah.
But then you've got like the psychological horror. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You've got the trauma horror that isn't necessarily ghosts and stuff, but it's dealing with just
Right.
tragedy that people have gone through. And so what kind of horror speaks to you?
Well, I definitely feel like it would be either like Insidious, Conjuring, or even Quiet Place, to be honest. But like Rose Byrne and Insidious, that horror for me it's the same kind of concept, right? It's demonic horror with a demon in the house, and there is. I got so scared watching one of the scenes where she's playing piano downstairs, and she has the baby monitor sitting there, and her baby's sleeping upstairs. I don't know if you remember the scene, and
I did
she
not. I
starts.
didn't watch it. There's certain horror I just will stay clear from because I'm
I
just
had
like,
like
yo,
a
I don't need
physical
that in my life.
reaction. I mean, my eyes started watering, not from tears, from fear, and my hair all stood up. That scene, like, "Ah!" and then Quiet Place does that for me too. She's like, oh, ah," it's like, and so like for me, I've always wanted to, I think, to do one like that. But I also love the like trauma ones too, like you're saying, where it's like someone's trying to think of one like what's a good example? Well, even like there's interesting ones like It Follows was really interesting. Um the Witch was really interesting, and then what's the name of Stay Quiet, or where they're in the house, the guy's blind.
Oh, isn't that Don't Breathe?
Breathe, Don't Breathe. Yeah, which is a
Mm.
trauma one, you know, and
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah.
one's fire too, because I like the ones that keep you on the edge of your seat, which horror does in general, for the most part, keep you on the edge of your seat, right? So,
Oh man, yeah. I just watched one today called "They Live in the Grey,"
okay.
and damn, that just the way they play with just the economy of scares, right?
Mhm,
It just creeps up on you. And
mhm.
and it's so unpredictable when the shit's gonna happen. So you just like, oh, whoa, yo, whoa. Or it's just like, and I think that's what a great thing about your film was the use of light, right? The shadows. There's times when, because also we had, it was weird because some of the camera work, it felt a bit like a computer game.
Oh, yeah, yes, like, you're
You
I
know what I
can
mean? With the movement and everything and the way it would scurry.
yeah,
And then suddenly you're just like, wait, what was that in the corner?
yeah,
I think I saw something in the corner. What the fuck's happening in the corner? And then you'd
yeah,
be like,
almost on the
oh,
edges,
what?
yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of you see him mammon throughout in these moments, you know?
yeah. That I didn't need that. That was just like, yo, all right, let's calm
No.
down with this shit, man.
Yeah, we're dealing with, filming this in the middle of COVID, which was such another level of difficulty when it comes to production. But, this was why this movie was so great for COVID too, was because it had such a small cast
Mm.
with just, a couple and the landlord and a few other characters here and there. But it didn't have this massive cast. So, like, it was just such a good fit. But yeah, it was our demon. He was wonderful. Larry. So yeah, you gotta use the shadows and the camera work. The camera work definitely was a unique way of, I think, filming. Our
Yeah,
DP
because
amazing,
it
AJ Epstein.
yeah, it was like that shaky cam, but not shaky cam. So it
Mm-hmm.
was just like, yo, this is a kind of a unique way of, bringing the action to you. I kind of thought.
Like you're walking, right? Almost like if
Mm,
you were walking into that room, or you
yeah,
were going, following that. That's why I think probably felt like that video game experience. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I thought that really did amp up like the tension.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited, I hope it scares people. That's the whole point.
Like, but when you're filming it, right? So, like, because what's gonna happen and how,
Right.
and probably how they're gonna create this effect and all of that. So, is it still as weird, as scary? Is the tension there? Do you feel it, or is that straight up just in the editing?
Well, I mean, okay, so I think it's twofold. You have certain scenes, like the end scene of the film, right? Which, I mean, there's some very emotional scenes in horror films. So those scenes, I mean, literally, like, Isaac came in the room, the director, and he held my hand and he said, "Do you feel safe?" And I was already crying, and then we had, this crazy emotional scene, and people had to leave, and then I couldn't stop bawling. Like, so there's some parts of filming a horror film, because you got to remember, your life is like, lives are on the line. There's a lot of fear, like things,
Mm,
like bad things are happening. So when you get in that headspace, right, it's sometimes hard to maybe get out of that. But when it comes to like the jump scares and the scares and stuff like that, because it's coming, there's also this element of fun and humor to it,
okay.
you
Yeah.
know so it really just depends on it. But if it's a very emotional scene, even though if it's coming, it's a lot of emotional, like, heavy lifting. you know
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Great challenge, to I mean, it's amazing to get to experience that.
mm, I can imagine. Like, did you or Tay do a Brad Pitt impression? You know, what's in the box? What's in the box?
I'm sure somebody did that on set, but yeah. I know what is in the box. That box can be found, right? I don't want to give away too much of the story, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No
that box
spoilers.
was
We
like,
won't spoil anything for the
yeah,
people. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
That scene was definitely fun to film. I'll say that. But I mean, I literally like one of the scenes where I'm busting into a door. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
banging on the door so hard that I had blood. I'd ripped my hands open without realizing it in multiple places. Like you don't realize this. If you ever get locked in a room and you can't get out or whatever, your little like skin cracks. So the door had like spots of blood.
Oh my gosh.
What
Like,
we do for filming.
hey, because you're professionals,
Right.
right? And I think you were bleeding already in that scene anyway, weren't you? I
Yeah.
think.
I had
Yeah.
a cut, I had the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Oh, poor Jess, man. She was just a mess.
So what do you use? Like, is there a a mechanism, a mantra, or something that you use to try and get into those spaces? You know what I mean? To get that mindset going. Is it? Do you have a playlist? Like, you know what I mean? Do you think about something a teacher at school said to you, or your bully, or something? Like, how do you get emotional? How do you get, you know what I mean, crying or just angry? Like, what do you use?
So I definitely used to like utilize music because music brings back memories and that can take you back to a place in time, whether happy, sad, whatever. But I found in this film, because it was there was quite a few emotional scenes. Even Tay was like, "Man, you know, how do you get there so fast?" The best tactic was to just put yourself, like to really put yourself in the shoes of what is happening in the scene. And so if you can just tell yourself, like, if you can imagine that the last scene in the film, waking up to I'm not going to spoil, but waking up to
Mm.
those circumstances and the gravity of that situation, that is the best way to start getting yourself into that mindset and going that direction versus trying to use some other experience that's maybe unrelatable or music or whatever. Music's also hard because you got all these people around you, when you're filming and you're getting ready to film, and these emotional scenes, you put so much, you really want to get there and whatever. And I think if you put that pressure on yourself, it can be a little difficult too. But it's hard to have music and when people are asking you questions and you get the mic going on and this going there and this happening over here. So I just think really truly it's putting yourself in the shoes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Really
Yeah.
tell yourself, like, when you're thinking that if I were to wake up and X, Y, and Z, I discovered that had happened, right? Like, and you think about if anyone close to you or anything close to you, and I don't want to give it. I feel like I'm gonna give away the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. Yeah. I
anyway,
don't, it is a difficult one, right? Because I think sometimes you watch these kind of scenes and
yeah.
you think, what did you think was going to happen? You're playing in traffic, kid. You're playing in traffic, but then, you know what I mean, the thing hits you a bit more and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
but that's still fucked up, right? That's
I
still fucked.
know,
So it's just like a lot of things kind of go through your mind,
I
you
know,
know?
yeah. And then the very very last scene is very messed
Like,
up.
because, a lot of the film is you and Tay,
Yeah.
right? It's built on that relationship. So did you do a lot of kind of bonding exercises? Did you hang out a lot before you started filming, or was it pretty much, hey, how you doing? Let's go.
Well, I had met Tay one other time through a friend prior to him boarding, which was years ago. So I knew him in passing. And then when he came on board, we met a couple times with the director and the producer. It was difficult because, again, it was more in the height of the pandemic. So,
Mm,
you know what I mean? There was not a lot open. It was back then. So he and I met, I think, twice, and we met with the crew once, and then we just shot. So we just sat down and had lunch. And I think that was, we wanted to have a little bit of bonding. So it wasn't just, okay, here we go.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He's so easy to work with and like personable that you feel like you've known him forever, And Madsen too. Madsen was awesome. He's just such a like cool cat that like walks in there and he just improvs, and he's just like a genius when he's doing it. So he was super complimentary and just like really cool too. So it was like very cool to work with such a nice cast who's also just such an awesome, iconic two actors. I'm
Yeah.
so lucky. Like, pinching myself, is this real? I don't know.
Oh, right. Like, what? How long was the shoot for this?
Oh gosh. I want to say, well, we had to shoot around Tay's All American schedule because he was filming that as well. So I want to say we shot for a total of like 16 days or something around
Okay.
that, and then I had like 2 days and maybe a pickup. So it was pretty fast.
Mm,
We got to it. I mean, when you just have because it was a smaller cast, I think it was easier to. It was very contained. It was a very good COVID movie. I'd come off another film where we had like a really big cast take back prior to it, and that was a lot more complicated with the COVID protocols and the whole thing. So
mm.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. I like the house. I was just like, yo. I mean, just regardless of demons and stuff like that, it's a creepy ass house.
Yeah,
Like that was a creepy ass house just to live in generally.
that house, it became like its own character. It looks like it has eyes, right?
Mm,
Like the two windows that
yeah.
it almost looks like a face. Yeah, that house is weird. It's like a dome house.
Yeah.
It was
It was
great
just like,
shooting. I
oh.
mean, we lucked out, finding that. So we have our one of our executive producers to thank for that. He was the one that secured that. So good job, Bosco.
Yeah, it definitely helped with the story to
It
have
did.
that kind of location.
I know. If we had just had like a regular house, we still would have done something cool with it. But that house it literally is like another character in the film.
Mm,
It should be
yeah.
listed on the IMDb. House. Creepy house.
What with the script? Did you have any leeway with some of the lines? Did you add anything to it? But
Yeah, we did a few. I talked to Isaac and Mike Hatton, the producer, and I was like, I want to bring this or that to Jess, and I want to make sure she's like got that lovable side of her that I want people to fall in love with her and see like a light side of her as well. So we kind of incorporated that. And then, I had time where Isaac sent me a bunch of films to watch and specific characters. And he and I were able to like flush out the scenes. The only thing is it was all very virtual. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like you
mm,
could sit. And so it's just like over FaceTime or whatever. But yeah, I felt like I had, probably like a couple weeks, but I memorized lines extremely quickly. Like it's one weird thing that I have. So it's never really, I think that's why I was a 4.0 student in college as well, because I'm able to regurgitate information. And I forget it. Like so that's never like really an issue. But yeah, for me it's less about the lines, more obviously about the performance and making sure that the the director's happy and the audience is feeling it, like there's nothing more special or than knowing you evoke emotions in someone as an actor. If I can make you, the audience, feel something, whether it's like lightheartedness or sadness or anything like that, or I've done my job.
Yeah.
So
No, for real. Like, how long does it usually take you to inhabit a character?
I mean, I think probably every character's a little different. Jess is just your girl in a situation. She's very, very like girl next door, sweet, which is similar to like I'm very girl next door. But the character I played in the film prior, her name is Nancy. She has Stockholm syndrome and she was sex trafficked, and so she's kind of become this rotten egg. And she's got a drug abuse problem and stuff like that. So that one definitely took a little bit longer to embody, but it was also super fun. But Jess, it's more about it could be any girl really, right, in those circumstances.
Yeah.
We all could end up in those circumstances. Like, Jess is just living life, trying to get her husband to have a baby. So, and then she just wrapped up because Mammon really pulls Brad and Jess and tries to invoke him, right?
Yeah, there's definitely that manipulation going on.
And he kind of dangles the carrot of the business and the baby and what their dreams are in front of them, so they fall into that trap, and then the things they start to do are not necessarily maybe who they are as people, right?
Yeah. It is that kind of conundrum, right?
Yeah.
Do you do the long game, or is it the here and now, like take it now?
Right. I mean, greed is a slippery slope, but the thing is we all have our hopes and dreams and our goals, and it's like, what would we do for it? And I think a lot of it too, again, it's not obviously what Brad would have done or what Jess would have done had it not been a demon, kind of pushing them and manipulating them into that, because the demon's obviously trying to get them to invoke it, and then a lot of their actions are maybe not even truly who they are. So it's the carrot that gets them. Like this where I hold the little coin in my hand and then I have that flash of my dream in head and she's like on board.
Yeah. Like, do you think to yourself, what would you do? Like, maybe not with demons and all of that, but are you the type of person that's like, no, I'm gonna take the long road and really work for this thing? Or is it just like, oh, there's a shortcut? All right, let's do this.
I mean, I definitely took the long road, like I am in that seat in a way. I moved out here not knowing a soul. My family was shocked when I'm like, I'm gonna go act in LA. They're like, what? But I've always just been held on to my honor and held on to all of that, and that is the longer road, I think, in any, I've never taken any shortcuts to get where I am. So I just think, in my opinion, that's always the smarter choice. And I always think that hard work will pay off. I just think in anything anyone's trying to accomplish, you just can't give up, and keep learning and keep trying and keep hustling and,
Yeah. And I think you appreciate it more.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that I remember when I left school, right? There was a lot of people whose parents or friends of friends got them jobs, and they were like good jobs, and you're like, God damn, okay, but people didn't appreciate the jobs. And then then it's like you speak to them a bit later, and like, oh yeah, I don't work there anymore. It's like, what happened? And like, oh yeah, I just did this thing, and you're just like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? That's insane. But then you realize, right, it's because you didn't really have to work for the thing. So
Hmm.
you take it for granted. But when
Exactly.
you see people work for something, they're less likely to, you know what I mean, fuck it up, to mess around because, they knew what it took to get to that point.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like anything. If someone gives you a car or an item of clothing or anything like that, and even if it's the nicest thing ever, you're not gonna appreciate it. It's the same concept. You're gonna be like, oh, that's cool, whatever. So
Mm,
like, yeah, that sweet victory after you've been working forever
yeah.
to get here. Like we had the premiere the other night, and that was like such an amazing moment. We did it on a rooftop to say COVID safe for everybody who's in production and all that, and whew, it was cold, but man, was it fun.
Uh,
I was cherishing every moment.
yeah, I mean, there's you speak to a lot of people during this time, and a lot of people had to do that just virtual premiere, and
I know.
some people just not
It's
at
so
all,
bad.
and so yeah, you feel bad for people, especially when it's like their debut film, and then it's just like, oh yeah, so we did it over,
Zoom.
Zoom, and it's just like, oh man,
That's like it's
damn.
breaking because like there is nothing that can replace that feeling of an actual premiere, and that is like it's this moment like it's really happening type of a feeling, and every actor who's worked so hard and crew and directors and everybody to get to that point in that film should be able to cherish that moment,
Mm,
because it's very special. Yeah, no one, and it was just so different filming now too, because like no one can come to set. There's no wrap party really. I mean, I think things are going to start getting back into
yeah.
hopefully the way they used to, but I don't know about going to set anymore. But yeah, you used to be able to like stop by your friend's set sometimes and say hi, or you know what I mean. Now it's like, oh yeah, you got it tested and blah, 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 and no, there's
Mm,
no guests allowed. So it was that's why, but we did it outside. That's why we did that. So everyone could just attend and everything was fine, and it went off amazing. We had rain. Actually, it was like 87 degrees the day before. Yeah, it was the weekend of the Super Bowl. Obviously, it was beautiful weather here, and then that morning we woke up to rain and freezing. And it rained till like 5, like on and off. Yeah, and then the premiere started. Like everyone started arriving at 7. So it worked out.
outstanding. That's great to hear.
Yeah,
But you model, right? So
I
why,
used to.
yeah, what made you choose the acting?
Well, I fell into modeling. I got scouted in Idaho by this photographer who was shooting an ad for a t-shirt company, right? And I was like, okay. So he shot me, and then I just started working. It was weird. I just started getting jobs and whatever, and then just through that somehow I started meeting other people in the industry naturally, and I ended up meeting a director. I'd done a couple little things, but I met this director who cast me in this basically teaser for this upcoming big film that shot in Santa Barbara. And so he flew me down there and we shot. It was amazing, beautiful locations with horses. It was a polo film.
Okay.
Gosh, like, emotional and this and that and romantic and the whole thing. And afterwards he said, you're really, really talented. Like, have you ever thought about doing this? And I was like, it's always been my dream. It's just in Idaho. Like, I've lived in
Mm.
Spain and Idaho in my life, and the entertainment industry feels so far away, and I have no idea how to get started. And he goes, well, you should just do it. You have to move to LA though. So I did. I literally packed up what I could fit in my car and moved to Los Angeles. And that was pretty wild. But yeah, the modeling thing, I'm short. I'm like 5'3.5" or 5'4" on a good day. So that was never really, it was fun. Modeling's fun. I got to travel, but it wasn't like acting. I don't feel the same love, you know.
Right, right. But
I
yeah, that was you know, you I don't it's hard to say, but you kind of figured that the modeling is maybe less taxing just because with acting you have to memorize different scripts and
Yeah.
all the auditions and just all of that, where the modeling is a bit quite a pace maybe.
Well,
So it's just
it's
like,
a monster in and of itself. It's a brutal industry, especially like now it's more accepting, but maybe like even 7 years ago, my height, they would act like I was like diseased when you would walk into a casting and you're like signing in as girl 260 or whatever the heck, and so it just, I don't know, and it's also you do have to emote, a lot of my modeling jobs, people would seek me out versus, you know what I mean, because they were already okay with a girl that's maybe not your typical 5'10", whatever. So, but yeah, you have to emote, and it is physically kind of tiring because you almost do have to hold your body in certain ways the whole time. But beyond that, and then staying good health or whatever. But beyond that, like acting is so much more to it than modeling.
yeah.
Like it's almost like apples and oranges. You just like they're two totally separate things. And modeling, if you can kill it and you're great, like that's amazing. It's definitely better now, I think, than ever, because it's so accepting of all body types, all shapes and sizes, all everything. Like people are way more open to just seeing everybody now, which is really cool. But yeah, I love film and television. I love watching a movie and being inspired and be like, oh, that was great. I want to shoot a movie. I'm
like,
watching Pam and Tommy right now,
okay.
man,
How are you finding it?
I love it. I love it. It's so good.
And do you think, like, when you see the different people, you'd be like, yeah, that really does look like.
I thought they did an amazing job of casting, and those actors. I don't know I forget who's playing Pam. What's her name? Is it Lily?
It's Lily. It's Lily. Is it Lily Collins?
It might be. I think it is Lily. I think I thought it was Lily Collins, and then I realized it wasn't Lily Collins. And then it's Sebastian Stan is playing Tommy.
Yeah.
But it's just such a fun show, and like for me, I watch them and I watch her, and I'm like, God, I would love to film something like that. That is so fire. Good. They were wild.
Oh man, it was, yeah, definitely crazy. Definitely crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
status.
do you go for those sort of roles, or like, how does the work? I'm assuming you have an agent and they send you stuff, but it's like, yeah, like, do you find yourself getting sent a particular type of role, or is it more varied? Like,
I mean, it can be, I guess, kind of open because I can go a few different directions, but I find I get a lot of like the action stuff with like whether it's like the villain or the cop or a soldier. In those lines, I don't know why.
or a Marine, right?
Yeah, I mean, I play a salvage Marine in
Yeah.
Salvage Marines, so I don't know what that is, but yeah, I would love. That's a very specific casting, Pam and Tommy. Like to cast Pamela Anderson, you're looking for not only personalities speaking, but like the looks and can we transform this person. So I'm sure they did like a big net to try to find what they were looking for that. But I would love to go out for that. I wish I had, but
Like, because sometimes you watch people in certain roles and the transformation is crazy.
yeah,
I think Charlize Theron in Monster is one of the great,
right.
like, it is Charlize Theron and oh my gosh, like Christian Bale in The Machinist.
Okay, yeah, he is. I mean, but you're talking like, oh my gosh, A-list, top notch, most incredible, talented people. Christian Bale is a beast. Yeah, so
yeah, but right? So I remember hearing Sam Worthington talk about roles and stuff like that, and he was just like, man, if they want me to rock a six pack, they have to pay me even more money because I'm not doing it, right? Which I thought was interesting because
Right.
you see other people who will just go all out, go
Yeah.
all out. Oh,
Sorry about that.
oh, sorry.
It's connected to my phone is on silent. Connected to my computer. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, again, that's just a product probably of where someone is, I guess, in their career and what they're really wanting. Because I mean, if you really want something, you know what I mean, I think no matter what, if they're like, you need to get a six pack, you're gonna be like, all right, here we go, you know what I mean. But like, yeah, I'm sure it's hard to transform your body. So I think I also understand the flip side where someone's like, well, then you need to, like, if you want me to, you know, turn out this way or look this way or do this, then I need assistance. You know what I mean? Like, help me with a trainer, or what like, help me get on a program, or maybe that's what they were referring to. But yeah, I mean, I think if you really want it though, and they're not offering that, I think people will rise to the occasion.
Yeah, well, I know, like with the Marvel stuff, and I think it was with 300 when they filmed 300, they sent everyone to this crazy camp to get like just tonked.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But there's that end of things, and then there's the other one where you see the people put on weight.
I know. And they do both, right? So that would just be what, like, change of diet and amount of intake.
Mm.
And that for me too, like, I mean, you really got to be willing to commit to that and under, like, cuz that affects the person's life trajectory of their health.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
like
and losing the
or
weight after the role.
right, or gaining or losing that weight back, you know what I mean, to get back to who you are as a person, like, that's also tough, you know.
Mm.
That's and like, what's Matthew McConaughey, you know, I think he had a hard time
Oh, yeah,
after Dallas
Dallas
Buyers
Buyers.
Club,
Yeah.
after getting back to that weight, and losing that amount of weight can age you. I mean, it can be very detrimental, I think, to your overall health. So I mean, you really, I guess, depending on which way it is and what it is, I think you got to really weigh all aspects of that. And it's, again, it's down to how much do you want to do that, and is this something, a path you're willing to take? Some people are really good though about, like, they understand body and they understand weight loss and fitness. And you know, I have a friend like that. He's an actor, Paul Sloan. He's been in a ton of stuff, and he's able to, like, go from, like, they want him bigger to they want him more lean. And for him, it's just an easy, like, oh yeah, just do whatever, you know. So he just has that, like, he knows his body. He
Mm.
knows what it needs. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So what would you be prepared to do? Would you shave your head? Like, if someone came to you and be like, "Yo, we want you to play this part, but you're gonna have to put on weight." Like, are you doing it?
yeah. I mean, if it's like someone I really want to work with, and I know I love the script and the character, yeah, you know, like, hair will grow back. And I mean, if they were to say you need to gain 100 pounds, I don't even know if I could, I don't know how the heck I would even do that. I think we all gained some weight during quarantine, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So still working on getting that weight off during the pandemic and all of the snacks. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely willing to be open to stuff like that. It just, again, I would have to look at the whole picture. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because first and foremost, always in our lives is our health. You know, we don't have anything if we don't have health. So if something's going to affect your health, then I think you really got to think about it, and then also work with them and see, is this really needed for the film, you know?
Mm. Yes.
Obviously depends on what the project is. But yeah. Oh, what we do. Also, stunts are the same thing. I mean, I've had a stuntman be like, "We light you on fire." I'm like, "Nah."
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things you'd be like, I would do that, maybe not that, right?
Yeah,
That's a little
that
too
goes
far.
wrong. I think I don't know. Yeah.
I I read that you've signed a production deal with Mike Hatton.
Yeah. So we have some partners out of Louisiana that we signed a film fund with. So basically, we are with them looking at projects and whether or not they want to come in on them or not. And they're good friends of ours. They're amazing. So that's been really cool too. That happened, right before the pandemic.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So Mike Hatton's a producer I work with a lot, and he is not only a good friend, but he's like an awesome producer and super funny guy. Like went in for like SNL. Like that's how he's just always jokes.
okay,
So like everyone loves having him on set because he just is just like lighthearted and makes everyone laugh, and but he's hardworking and he's awesome. So
nice.
more to
So,
come with that.
so you got like things that you're eyeing right now, like looking to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff on the horizon. So, a couple different films that I'm talking to a few people about. And but what I'd really like to get into is television. I would love to get on a show. And I've done, Salvage Marines is going to be
Yeah.
coming out at the end of the year through Sony Crackle. So I'm excited about that. I think I'm in the majority of the episodes, what they've told me. So I'm still waiting to hear what's exactly, how that's being cut and stuff. But I really want to get on a show. That's why I was like Tom and Pammy so far, or Tom and Pammy, Pam and Tommy. It's the other show. And then yeah, I mean, there's so many good shows. I couldn't even name them all because I feel like in the pandemic we all binged like every single TV show in existence. But yeah,
Like, when you see like things get announced, like the Lord of the Rings show, and
yeah.
there's a new Game of Thrones thing coming. What I mean, you've got Terminal List, you've got Reacher that's just there's all these different things, these big kind of tent poles
Yeah.
appearing. Do you kind of think I'd love to be a part of that
Oh
universe?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like hard. You read those, you're like, well, where was I for that casting? Yeah. But I mean, again, they're looking for what they're looking for. So, you get called in for certain things and not for other things. It's part of the deal. So,
Mm,
you know, but
yeah. Is
yeah,
there
I
a,
think a lot of things gonna start, ball's gonna start rolling a lot because everyone's just been kind of slowly doing stuff, and now I think it's gonna be like, boom, here we go.
yeah, it does seem like a lot of productions are like rolling now.
Yeah, yeah, it's back. We're
Mm,
back.
yeah, which is, but I think the crazy thing is, and it's one of those things that I think people don't always think about, because when you thought, lockdowns hit, right, everything's shut, and you think, oh, what's going to happen then? There's no more films, there's no more TV, but then it's just like stuff that was filmed and it's just been waiting for that window. So you
I
still
know,
had so much stuff dropping
I
during,
know.
that period of time when everything was on lock.
It was like cool for people because some people I think got a lot of eyes on their project that maybe they wouldn't have normally gotten had it been normal life. You know what I mean? And tons of other content would have been flooding the market or whatever. But I think some people just got this like perfect window of opportunity. You know what I mean? And it came out and like just was like the thing in the pandemic.
Well, yeah, like how many people would have really known who hell Joe Exotic is? You know what I mean? If it wasn't for
Yeah,
lockdown.
Tiger King was like beginning of the pandemic. Every single human being on, at least that I saw on my Instagram, was watching Tiger King.
Yeah.
You're right. Now
Yeah,
I
Tiger
think
King.
some people probably would have made some, watched it and been like memes or whatever. But I think like that. Sorry. I don't know. This happened earlier because I don't know how to silence my computer because if I silence this, then I don't hear you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I hear you.
No, yeah, I definitely know, because yeah, it's like, yeah, my phone. If my phone rings, there's a delay, but then the computer starts ringing. And when you cancel on the phone, the computer's still ringing. You're like, I canceled the call.
I know. I'm like, I don't know how to quit it. I need to figure that out because this has happened and this keeps happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we'll just have people going in. Hi. Yeah.
Is there a genre that you'll be like, I really want to do this? Like a musical or, a rom-com or like a thriller? It's like,
I mean, a rom-com would be super fun. A genre I'm looking for, I would say more something like lighter would be really fun, more in line of like a comedy or a rom-com, because I did this project a few like beginning of pandemic as well. I did it's called Heroes with Issues. It's a show on YouTube and it's about superheroes seeing their therapist.
okay.
And I play Catwoman, and it's Catwoman in quarantine. And so I'm seeing my therapist via Zoom because we had to shoot it that way. We had to shoot ourselves at that point because this was like May 2020.
Right.
And oh my God, I had so much fun playing that role. I jumped on like my curtains, pulled back. What cats do crazy shit 'cause she's losing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry. She's like completely losing it. So I'm like drinking a bottle of vodka, like what we were all doing in quarantine, only, add in the layers of a cat and add in the layers of Catwoman. So I had such a fun time. I'm like, man, I would love to do a really fun comedy.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
what kind of comedies, like what's the type of comedy that gets you, like a knocked up super bad, or something along the lines of maybe the French Dispatch, a bit more subtle, like
I mean, I love one of my all-time favorite movies is Office Space.
oh gosh.
I've seen that movie. Or I also am a big fan of, and this is like total like crazy comedy, but like Ace Ventura. You know what I mean? Like Courtney Cox's role in that, like stuff like that, like that. Those are so funny to me. They're like silly.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine being on set during those films would have been just like so fun. Like trying not to laugh like the entire time.
Yeah, sometimes when you see the outtakes of those films, you just think, man, they were having such a good time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's a dream. You know what I mean? It's so fun. I wonder if we like Kevin Hart. If you're out there. No.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, I think you could do those roles.
I mean, I hope so. Yeah. I think I think I could too. I mean, there's definitely comedy has a whole nother level of difficulty with timing, obviously. But you have, your comedians and your like comedic actors, but you can't have the entire cast on that level the whole time. Anyway, you know what I mean? You have a lot of different layers in a comedy because you have to have kind of the offsetting person.
Yeah.
A little bit sometimes. And so yeah, I think there's a chance for me still.
Hey, and like if those roles aren't coming, right? You do, like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Kevin Smith, and you make your own thing.
Oh, I know. That's always a good path, I think, for everybody, just to stop waiting for someone else to come along and, give them their dream role and stuff like that. It's better to just take the bull by the horns and make it happen,
Exactly.
I'm a big believer in that. Why we raised the film fund.
Hey, no, I think it's definitely one of those things which I think we're seeing more people do it, right? And especially with the just the advances in technology, and you can shoot things with your phone now and stuff like that. So we're seeing people take more chances, which I think is just great because man, when you watch some of these short films, right, indie films, blow you away. Like
Yeah.
you just think that's someone's first film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's usually like you think it might be their first project, but they've been at it a long time. But it's the first that's the first time you see them because again, they get tired of when you go on a casting for something. It's like I've been told like oh, I gone to call back at the at the studio or whatever, and then later,
Mm.
oh, you didn't look like the family, or oh, they wanted a blonde, or oh, they wanted this, or oh, and it's so out of your control, and
Yeah.
so the beauty of that is you get to control it and you get to make sure you are in it and all of that because otherwise it's like who knows what they're going to choose. Even if you shoot it, you might get cut out. You just
Mm.
never know in this business with other projects, other people's projects. So
Yeah. And it becomes a CV, right? Because it's now proof of concept. You're showing that, look,
mhm,
you doubted me, but look, I
yeah,
can do that role.
yeah, exactly. Right, or I can carry a movie, or I can handle these type of scenes or these types of
Mm.
characters. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Super
Hey,
fun.
so with the film dropping tomorrow, right? So like what then happens, right? Like, do you still have to go do some press, or is it now once it's out, you're moving on to the next projects?
No, I mean, there's definitely gonna be still some press coming down the pipeline, and, the people are gonna see it, and then there's gonna be more interviews about, having seen it and stuff like that. So for the next little while, there's definitely gonna be, I think, actually even more press right around the release, whether it's like right before or right after. So I'm not ready to let it go yet. It's not done yet. I'm savoring all the moments.
Hey, no, I think that's definitely because yeah, you only get that thing once,
Yeah,
right? Like when you do your first thing, it's just like, yo, live, you know what I mean? Because you always hear people that be like, "Ah, I wish I had just appreciated the moment."
I know. I know. I shot this my first starring role was I shot this sci-fi movie and I played a superhero named Jennifer Gaines who's telekinetic, and I got to like run through real explosions, get pulled on wires, like I mean it was oh my god, it was just such an incredible experience. And I was like, we should make a TV show. I was like telling the director and the producer. And they were just like, Jess. I'm like, what? Because I just wanted to like, I wanted it to go forever. That's gonna be so fun. Yeah, but that's the truth. You have to savor and really appreciate those moments, you know, because they don't happen every day.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely, definitely. But yeah, no, you know what I mean? Like the roles are coming, right? You're getting in there with these A-star actors and everything like that. So, you know, it looks like the future is shining on you.
I'm ready. Let it shine. I certainly hope so. I'm just excited right now. I'm excited to see what the world is going to think about the film. I hope they enjoy it. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I think it definitely, yeah, it's definitely creepy as fuck. So, you know what I mean?
it is a creepy film. Yeah, it's very creepy. But yeah, I'm just I'm ready. I'm ready for the next project too. If it came today, I'd be like, okay, but still not, I'm still gonna, make sure Incarnation's taken care of.
Well, when you have another project, we'd love for you to come and yeah, I
I
mean,
would love that.
just talk about it with us, huh?
Yeah, I would love that. It's been so nice talking to you. I feel like you are just easy to talk to. You know all about the film and films in general, and it's been fun.
Ah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you've enjoyed your time with us. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I hope it all goes well. You know what I mean? That yeah, you get your rom-com, your maybe, you know what I mean? Like, hey, Disney Plus and Netflix, they're all churning out
I know.
content right now.
Yeah,
So, you know what I mean? You
opportunities out there.
yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows?
We'll watch this and be like, oh, look at that girl, you know?
Yeah, and then they're too big to return. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, do you want to jump on the pit? Be like, ah, yeah.
Yeah. Right. We'll see what the future holds. I'm sure. I'm excited for it, whatever it is.
Hey, there's a great attitude, Jessica. So I'm sure you're just gonna go on and keep on shining.
Oh,
So
I appreciate that.
hey, no problem, man. So yeah, look, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hope it all goes well. And hey, the thing being, right? I just think with anything you put out, some people are gonna love it, some people don't.
Yep.
Who gives a fuck?
Yep.
Right? You did a thing, you enjoyed doing it,
Yep.
right? You believe that you gave that performance. That's the thing that matters. Knowing that you gave your all, you delivered, you had this great experience.
Oh, yep. No one's gonna rain on my parade. So
Outstanding.
all right, Kevin.
Hey, thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate it. So yeah, people, the film drops tomorrow. Incarnation.
Yeah.
Yes. Woo. Okay, people, go check it out on all your favorite VODs.
Yep.
And follow Jessica because you know she's gonna be doing some big things
That's
coming up.
Uberuaga.
That's right. That's right. Awesome.
All right.
All right, Jessica. Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Kevin.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.